So I have this project here that I did last year for my university. I did this in C and I did this on around the 24th of May of last year. So as you can see here on my calendar, it's been almost a year now. And what this project is basically a game where I need to use the flood fill algorithm in order to create a game of a cat trying to escape a maze and finally being able to do it. Of course, we count the steps. There are some points of this game. So for example, I have to parse the map. This is in Portuguese, but I will basically read something from a folder, basically this folder right here on this format, and I'm going to using a library called MLX. I'm going to draw these and then I'm going to draw my cat basically going through it. I haven't seen the code in a while, of course I did it almost a year ago, so I'll just try to analyze and judge my code here. So let's start at the beginning. I think here on main.c. So this is the first thing that is completely disgusting. I just throw here my my so long to do. Basically, this is a pointer to my. This is a pointer to my structure here, a singleton. I was trying to remember the name. This is basically a singleton where I can use to access my data anywhere in the code base. And then right here I have like static, but this doesn't have to be static. Basically in C we just use static here, but this isn't actually relevant. And then I always wanted to have clear names, but I had some strains regarding the syntax and the looks basically of my code. So here I had to make decent and clear names, but while not being actually able to use clear names. This code is very ugly, but the logic is there. The logic is there. But now, like using a lot of functions here right at the main, and none of them needs to be in the main. I could just throw all of this honestly into a helper function, and this would make a much clearer main function. Alright, so here I have my singleton, then I have just my validation. Oh yeah, also I have some macros here that extend, but they're I'm kind of proud of them. I remember that at the time I really liked the concept of, okay, I can just come here, change the text. This is basically just the parse, but in Portuguese, by the way. I don't know why I wrote in Portuguese as well. I could have just wrote in English. But anyway, here are the macros I did with like, yeah, just simple placeholders, right? And then let's see our start game function. Right, so we have this, okay, accessing our structure, and then just like just look at this start game. Okay, so basically all of this I could have like game started that would just validate all of this stuff here, right? So for example, if we can't use the MLX init, it returns a pointer to our MLX pointer here. This is a null pointer, by the way. So if this doesn't work, like I could do like basically like parse shit, and then I would get like the pointer to gen, and I would just paste this here basically. But well, at the time I didn't have any base of what is good code. Also here it's just syntax that I need to use for some restraints, because I can, like, there was a limit of how many characters I could use per line, and I had to do some ugly stuff like this. This is nasty. But anyway, or I could just get this phrase like to be smaller. But anyway, at low key until here, yeah, this is just a parsing. The name of the function is start game, but I'm just parsing this shit. Honestly, I'm not doing anything. because it returns 1 if it works. Yeah, and then I have breaker. And what the fuck is this supposed to mean? Probably I asked ChatGPT to create a function that would help me. Yeah, basically what I think happened is I had a main, and this main was like stupidly gigantic, and they just decided to, okay, ChatGPT, like, this is my function, just make this smaller and break it into parts, you know? Because what the fuck is breaker? These right here should be parsed, but anyway, let's go to breaker. And then we have a function called makeMap. Okay, let's search for it. So we have makeMap here, and then we have some pointers, a while loop, and another while loop, and then a drawMap. DrawMap I'm gonna call file to image. These are not functions that I did, by the way. Everything you see in MLX are functions from the MLX itself. So I just put image to window, okay, and this style right here. Let's go back, and then I draw map, browse. Oh yeah, I remember this. I'm starting to remember shit. Yeah, well, yeah. Basically, at first, I draw everything in order. So like if on the file we read, which I pass as data, we have 1, we write a wall, right? So I'm trying to pass. I think you can hear it. We cannot go into the wall, but we can go if the next object we're trying to go is not a wall, and of course if we want to get out we need to take all the reds in order to go. Yeah. And then okay, so this is make map, which calls draw map, pretty straightforward. And then we have some hooks here and another hook again. I should have a function that will go through all the hooks right here. But anyway, okay, so after make map, no, hold on, breaker. And that's it, okay. And then we have loop here. And let's check out what this loop function does. And here we will, what? Data param, we unlock stuff, put the image to window. Really, that's it? That's the whole program? It took me a month to do. No, it can be, hold up. Where do we call the key press to walk? On the hook. Oh, okay, yeah, so the loop will basically, yeah, I draw everything. Okay, I'm starting to remember now. Cool, so this function will run in a loop, and every time we press a key, on this case, like W, A, S, or D are the arrows of the keyboard, this loop restarts again, and then we call key press to walk. And how do we know this? Well, because after here we get to key press to walk, where I handle the move, and let's see where that is. So if we press the W or the up key, well, basically, and we're gonna check the collision, and we'll check the collision with this basic stuff. So we'll get the player position on X and Y axis while given the map as a parameter, because it's a double char, or a vector if you want to call it, a matrix. If this collision is not turned on because this is a boolean, we'll actually move. So handle move. Here we call collision, and if we are able to walk, we will increase our Y or X axis. Okay, going back. Then redraw map tile. So I remember I was so proud of this, because basically, if we don't call this function, every time our cat moves, there would be like a tile of the cat. So I would have like, every time I walked, there would be instances of the cats when it shouldn't be. We should only like see the cat, and after it goes to another square, it would be like empty, you know? So this is why, but I remember I had this bug, and I just decided that I would draw the cat. Basically, this was not vibe coded, and I was so proud of that. And here I just use 80 because it has to do with the pixels of the image. basically all these like squares are 80 per 80 pixels. So if we want to walk, I will have to walk 80 pixels to the right. And differently from what you may think, uh, my cat is not an empty image. I basically, here's my carpet. I just copied and, and drew a cat over it. So it might look like it's only a cat and like a layered image, but no, this is like a whole ass image being drawn into it. It works. It works, so it didn't bother me. But okay, let's just go back to all of this what we just did. So we have main here, and then we have key press to walk, and then handle move. Yeah, cool. And then we redraw the map tiles, and we handle exit. Handle exit is a fun function because we are going to call super duper hyper free. And what super duper hyper free does is that it will free every single thing that we're going to do, or else basically we need to test this on Vogue. I think I have make while here. No, I can. So Vogue grind leak check equal full so long map subject. It's going to take a huge time because yeah, after we close our program, we have a bunch of allocations that are probably not necessary. If I did this today, I did a project that was kind of like this a while ago. I wouldn't need 1,241 allocations, to be honest. But yeah, this is a small project. I had to learn like flood fill. Flood fill is an algorithm that will go basically on paint when we open paint or we want to draw something, and we use our bucket to fill the shit here. Like we have a space that we want to fill. Okay, so this is our space, and we want to fill only the things in the center. We use the flood fill algorithm, which will pixel by pixel be spreading out until it hits a wall, and after it has nowhere else to go, it stops. And I use this algorithm here because on my maps I need to see if the map is valid or not. So for example, here you can see that I have no roof because roof should be like once. This is a valid map. So if I try to, yeah, so if I try to do this and then I go to the roofless, it works. But if I remove the roof, the map isn't rectangular and the map is bad and the map is invalid. What is this error handling? What the fuck? I have all the errors just thrown there. Yeah, pretty disgusting code, to be honest. And then like I have the all my dot O's I think are here. If I do make, I don't put things in a dot O. Okay, I put things in a dot object. Okay, average make file experience. I have the flood fill here and also some helpers here randomly. Some handle moves and redraw and more utils like the calloc, get map wave, the string and compare, realloc map again. I don't even need this shit. Why did I create it? String and trim, and yeah, and then I have the header, but this is not my header. This is my header, which is like, okay, I do like the structs here. I think it's fair. I think it's low-key fair. I don't know where it's general. So long. And then tgem. Where's tgen? Oh, okay, here. After exposition, yeah. Look at these names. Nah, this is so bad. This is so bad. I'm pretty embarrassed right now. My code nowadays is so fucking better than this shit. And this is a small project, mind you, but okay. Basically that's it. If this video is like decently, if it goes decently well, like 100 views, okay, 100 I think it's a fair amount. I'll just do a part 2 if you guys want, maybe in CPP or maybe in my low-key very first coding project. But anyway, that's it, bye.